Hey everybody, Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and it's time for round 10 for Tyranids recap and stuff. Basically, in the Warzone Apothis campaign, every time a faction hits their 10th game, whether it's 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever, a bunch of stuff triggers. So it's kind of an end of round, but just for that faction. And so the Tyranids are the first to have hit their 10 games because a lot of people came in and challenged me. Don't worry, all the other factions, even today, there's a ton of games going on, and a lot of the other factions are going to be hitting their 10th game as well before the Tyranids even continue. So it is going to look like the Tyranids having a bit of a lead, and it's because they do, as I've been doing well with my games, but there's everybody else right behind them. So let's take a look at all the stuff that will be happening. So the first thing that happens at the end of each round is that you go to each planet, not Space Hulk, but including the moon of Finette, where you have at least one flag, and you automatically get to get one more flag on an unoccupied adjacent hex. So I'm going to choose this one right here for Ixia. Then we'll go to the other planets. Having a hard time getting this one. It's going to be in that one. And on Dusal, I'm going to place an extra flag on this command bastion. And then on Vadarak, I've got my two yellow ones right here, so I'm going to take this command bastion as well. On Amon, I do have a presence, but I have no adjacent tiles. There's actually only one tile left that's empty, but I'm not adjacent to it, so I cannot take it. The next thing that happens is each faction has their goals and how it interacts with each of the planets. For the Tyranids, every planet where they have flags, they roll a d6 for each tile. And for every 6 they roll, they get to place another flag in an unoccupied adjacent tile, so kind of them reaching critical mass. For every 3 6s they roll, one of those flags can actually take over an enemy tile, as long as it's not a hive city. We'll start with Ixia, where I have 7 tiles. So for every 6, I get to place a new tile. And 0. And then on Dusal, I have 8 tiles. Let's see if I can get more 6s this time. 2 6s. So we're going to take this adjacent tile and then this adjacent tile. So we're creeping over. On Vadarak, I have 3 tiles and 1 6. I will also take over the Manufactorum. Not that I get to use the buildings, but it stops them from getting them. Then on Amon, I have 5 tiles. Now, I can't get any adjacent tiles, but if I roll 3 6s, I could take over somebody else's. None. Now, the other thing is, if you read the rules right now, while I'm filming this, which is really hard because you'll be seeing this later, I'm not happy with some of the other rules, like the Space Hulk, how it works, conquest points and all of that. We're probably not even going to be using conquest points anymore. So normally I'd roll here to see if I get some conquest points or I get some bonus Manufactorums and all that. I'm going to forego that for now. And so we'll wait to maybe a couple rounds in, then I'll come up with some rules for the Space Hulk and why it's important to be held. And so right now, no bonuses. I don't get to take over an unoccupied tile with the Space Hulk. Nothing allows you to take over more tiles in the Space Hulk except playing Zone Mortalis games. So as we look over the whole map, Ixia is being swarmed with the Tyranids, has a little bit of Chaos presence and Necrons. And then we have Dusal also getting overtaken by the Tyranids with lots of tiles there. Still a Necron presence, Chaos presence, and the Admech they've been pushed back to their hive cities. So we'll see if they'll be able to come out of that. No Tyranid presence on the moon of Finette, but we have a good strong Chaos presence still, and a bit of Necrons and Admech. And then on Vadarak, the Tyranids don't have a strong presence, but they're starting to be known because they just went from 2 to 4 tiles at the end of that round. And we still have lots of Admech and a bit of Necrons. The Tyranids have really managed to take over the Space Hulk, and so they're going to be able to find all that old genetic information that who knows what kind of information that they'll be able to derive from it. On Valonium, we've just had Necrons now. They have pushed off the little bit of Admech presence there, so everybody else is going to need to move to that. And then we've got Amon with good Tyranid presence, good strong Chaos presence, and strong Necron presence as well. Lastly, when you own spaceports, you can actually use those to move some of your tiles around to other planets. Now with Tyranids, they don't get to control spaceports, so they count as. I have 30 tiles now, so I count as having 2 spaceports on 2 separate planets. So let's do those moves right now. So I'm going to use my first spaceport to transport a tile off of Ixia and onto Valonium. I'm going to go right here in the middle so I have lots of areas of expansion. And then I'll use my other spacebar to take one off of Dusal. And I'm going to use it to also come on to Valonium, take over this command bastion. So that's the current state of affairs. At the end of this video, we're going to show you a good transition, a cool transition of all the different before and afters of the different maps, so you can stay tuned for that. And then stay tuned for the next games of Warzone Apothis. And if you're worried, oh, the Tyranids are steamrolling it, 30 tiles is a lot, don't get me wrong, but there are 121 tiles in total, and everybody else is playing a lot of games today. Tyranids won't be, so they're going to have a chance to regain some ground and hit their 10 rounds as well, where they'll expand. And we'll have to see what happens in the long term. Thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.